if they talk that, like this is something first time. Even they talk the bad, the first time, the suffering is a honey, right? Before honey not bad, right? Not honey, so không care. Okay, they can talk, but cannot talk the forever, for the long, not the forever, and not the. We can talk 1 year, 1 month, 10 months, 10 years, but cannot talk forever.
But someone could get a hold of me, trap me, and then torture me for a very long time.
That's okay.
That's okay?
But they suffering very long time, right? They suffering a long time. Honey, honey need the love day because they every every time, every day and mother suffering and my honey very bad. The who very suffering the first time day, not honey, right?
Love the one who tortured me,
Right.
who hurt me. Oi, oi, oi.
Because they very suffering, they very right.
But they feel they
Because
enjoy, they pleasure, they touch me, they hurt me.
but honey not hurt anything. They give but honey not okay, I not give. Why honey hit? Because the Buddha taught any person hurt the Buddha, but Buddha not give. The they just hit they, not hurt the Buddha, not they hit they, not hit the Buddha. Because Buddha don't care and Buddha don't keep. So who suffering? They suffering not coming, right?
I don't hate America. I don't hate American people. I don't hate anyone.
Honey like you?
Yeah.
Where?
Here.
Don't have?
No, just now. You cannot see, you cannot sense that I live stream.
I see.
Just 3 minutes. 3 minutes I'm live streaming.
Oh, I said in the streaming. I know sometimes I read the comment in the honey, the light sheet. I know the who the good, I know who bad.
Some
I
people
know
very
who
kind,
okay.
some people very mean.
And some person just go, oh, hit, but sometimes some person the find the the Shiva come, okay, I not care about us. I will go. One person one thinking honey cannot control anything. Why need control that?
I cannot
This
control the world.
this is their problem, not honey problem. They can talk anything. Outside very so many problems we cannot talk. And we go to the honey regime, they talk. Okay, it's okay.
I don't want to get money from people. I want to be available for people.
So,
I want to be accessible for people.
so they wasn't talk the money. Okay, honey is good. Honey need. Because honey sit very so many hours and teaching very develop mind and master very rich mind. Why they can go outside the pay anything, the eat the food, they the buy car, anything, but they not care, they buy the pay they the mind.
Well, unless you're a monk or a nun, everybody needs money. Even most monks and nuns need money too.
We still alive. We
Still
not
like,
died.
still alive. So if you're still alive,
But
you need money in this world.
We don't need the money in the rich, very
We don't
rich.
need the money to be
But
rich.
we need to take care of the life.
We just need money to take care of our life. We don't need money to be very rich, and also to be rich in the mind. You don't need money to be rich in the mind. You don't need a lot of money to be rich in the mind.
Money not the problem, just the human you the problem. And the image honey you listen money the problem, right? They use the money the problem. So money not the problem.
Well, it's been the weekend, so maybe take some time. I wish there was a large cat behind me. That'd probably be very healing. So when we buy a home, hopefully get a home in Vietnam, then we can get some cat or some dog. Probably be really nice. Well, we're always sharing the truth about ourselves, aren't we? To eat, to have a place to sleep. I think I've seen in Vietnam a skinned, dog and also a skinned cat, but it's very uncommon. It's very unusual. It's easy to get a Vietnam, just 3 months. You just apply online. You can go out, come back in 3 months. Easy.
If honey have a setter, honey can make a visa.
Okay. Yeah.
The another
U.S. is super, super expensive. Any country in the West is super, super expensive. And I enjoy the tropical environment. I enjoy being on this side of the equator. I do all kinds of different things. There's probably parts of myself that do miss being in America, but there's so much struggle and need for so much money to be in America. You almost have to have like hundreds of thousands of dollars to not be in a state of constant stress living in America. I wish I was rich, but like I said, I don't think that somebody needs to have a lot of money to have a richness in their mind or their heart or their life, their relationship with life. And your life only is now. It's like we want to be rich in our life, but we're not rich in our mind or our heart or our experience now. So how are you rich? If you have money but you can't use it, you're not rich. If you have a wonderful mind but you can't use a wonderful mind, then what good is that? I don't know. But it's not really important for people to be a member or not. It's not a big deal. You can join the Discord server if you want. You're looking at my situation. My situation isn't a story. This is my situation. So my practice of meditation, my practice of Buddhism, is not needing to have a story or believe in a story of myself to be. Yeah, I think Stoicism is good. Being detached. The practice of Buddhism is a practice of mindfulness and detachment together with everything, together with anything. My wife was a monk before, I was a monk before, and my wife was a monk before, and that's how we met each other. For years. Well, no, I'm really saying that. I mean what I say as often as I can. So my situation is I've got a little bit of a stomach ache. So being aware of the physical sensations in the body, being aware of thoughts, being aware of sounds, and not attaching to any of them. Not building up an identity on how I feel. But you have to be careful about that, because that can be a way of you avoiding yourself or avoiding your life. But I don't subscribe to the idea that anybody else can tell me what my life is. Why would I want that anyway? You know? Why would you want somebody else to be able to tell you what to do or where to go or how to see yourself? But that goes along with having attachment to what other people think about you. Is that now you don't just have attachment to what that person thinks about you, you have attachment to what everybody thinks about you. It's blah 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 if you don't understand it. Magic emotions, new sensations. Just feel it. You stop feeling so sucky by feeling the suckiness. Can I see? Can I have?
Hey, hey.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with easily being at peace or easily taking care of yourself. I think that's something that everybody should aspire to. Not to say that you shouldn't work hard or you shouldn't be willing to work hard, but also there being an easiness to, like, not destroying the environment, not polluting your own mind, not polluting other people's experiences. That should be easy. I think everybody should aspire to be able to really take care of themselves deeply, easily. It's not like we should put struggling on a pedestal. Oh, you're not struggling. You need to struggle. I don't want to struggle. I want to be easily at peace. I want to learn how to stop struggling. I was thinking about that top node, like that we actually don't really know anything. That all the things we know is just, it's like a temporary thing that's created up. Like, I know I'm going over there. But that's all you really know. Struggling can inspire growth, yeah. But how much are you going to grow? I mean, are you going to be James and the Giant Peach? Are you going to grow to the size of the moon? Are we all aspiring to be like Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk or a bodybuilder? I think we need to know how to struggle enough to be easily at peace with ourselves as we are. You know, the situation or the reality or life as it is right now. If you can't be at peace with that, you're never going to have a situation where you're really at peace. It's just going to be temporary. It's like you're trying to create a situation where you're convinced that you're at peace. But I don't think that's real peace. Yeah. And I'm sorry, you know, the rent is too damn high. It's crazy how much rent costs in a place like America. Well, this is the Buddhist idea, right? That there's not a real self. There's not a real soul that grows or shrinks. It's like Christians all believe in a soul, like an eternal soul, an eternal self. But Buddhists don't believe in a eternal soul or an eternal self. So that's Buddhism versus Christianity. Really, Buddhism versus like any, you know, Judeo-Christian religion. I think we are where we are. I am where I am. I don't think that there's anywhere where I should be right now. I am where I am. This is where I am. This is where my existence is. This is the totality of my existence. And I just use that as a way of communication because I think, or my feeling, my sense, is that this totality of existence, this here-ness, this now-ness, doesn't actually depend on an idea of a separate self or a separate soul or anything like that. Which one is tanha, Chill Woods? Is that anger or what's tanha? I know loba, moha, dosa. Tanha, is that clinging? Tanha. Craving, yeah, craving, clinging, attachment. It's like contraction. I think tanha is like contraction. But we can think that we're free from attachment, but it's just because the conditions are conditions that we're used to. So the lack of attachment has to be somehow not conditional, not really based on anything. It's like attachment in the mind is about being based on something. Wow, that's crazy. I could never afford that LBC, $2,100 a month for rent. Yeah, my wife loves fish heads. She loves eating fish heads. I'm not that big of a fan. Yeah, good for him. But it's not just the quality of our material situation, it's the quality of our mind. There's tons of billionaires and millionaires that do all kinds of horrible things. So it's like you create this special status about being wealthy that's inherently good. Like it's inherently good to be wealthy. But it's not inherently good to be wealthy. It's not inherently good to have a bunch of cars and houses or whatever. It's like we tell everybody to pick themselves up by the bootstraps and get a job, but isn't the ideal with the development of technology that we don't need to work? We don't need to like put forth labor because all these things can be more and more taken care of. It's like the economic crisis in the US where so many people can't get a job. There's very little manufacturing, there's very little like homegrown American businesses. And because inflation is so high, they actually have to increase the interest rate for loans. So people can't even open businesses. And then it becomes like the only way that you can make money, really make money, and instead of just like slaving away to pay your monthly bills, because that's the reality for most of America. You have to like try and trick people and manipulate people and sell people things as cheap as you, for as expensive as they can for as cheap as you can. And that's one thing that really grinds my gears, is how there's this process or this belief that it's okay to get something as cheaply as possible and then sell it for as high a price as possible. It's like we're trying to trick each other or exploit each other all the time. And somehow that has to have negative effects. Like we can't just keep going around trying to exploit everyone and everything so that we can be more individually wealthy and powerful and think that that's not going to affect the world or our communities or our relationships in some fundamental way. I think there are good and bad parts of being wealthy. You can be very wealthy and then you have a very strong disconnection from like the reality of most people's lives because you're living in this 5-star hotel or whatever. And there's also benefits of being poor where you're more grounded. There's better community structures in places that aren't like ultra wealthy. Because when we have all this money for ourselves, we kind of like go into ourselves, we encapsulate into ourselves, we form like it's kind of like a prison, but we would call it, the ego would call it like a castle, like a kingdom just for ourselves. And then we miss out on developing deep relationships with people that aren't all about money or our own personal castles. Do I want to build weapons? No, I don't want to build weapons. It's crazy how fucked the world is. You know, it's like Israel somehow, for whatever, Israel justifying like genociding Palestinians, but that the whole world basically just says, yeah, that's horrible, that's bad. We're definitely either against that or on the fence about that, or we can kind of understand it. But there's no like basic language, like basic human language that says, no, of course you can't just go and fucking kill children and just decimate people because you feel like that's the right thing to do. And I thought that's the justification behind like all the things that happened in the past with colonialism, is that these, you know, these Native Americans, these Aztecs, all these people were barbarians and we were bringing civilization to them. But still today it's like being a barbarian and just going and killing people, you know, killing children, torturing children, taking their parents away, taking their arms and legs away is just generally fine. It's generally acceptable. Of course it's not fine. Nobody says it's fine to kill children. But to kill anyone, to kill men, to kill women, to kill other human beings. And that is like, fundamentally, that's the culture that we all live in, where it's not ideal to go around killing people, but when it comes down to it, of course, we might have to do that. And then we fetishize violence. So we fetishize, like as an American, right, having a gun. And if somebody tries to break in, boy, am I going to shoot them and kill them and harm them. And of course, yeah, if somebody, you want to be able to defend yourself and protect yourself, of course. But it's not something to fetishize and celebrate that we're, that we have a chance to like harm someone else. It's like the dream of winning through violence hasn't been seen through as actually being a nightmare. That winning through violence is not a dream, it's a nightmare, regardless of the circumstances. Yeah. Don't worry. And that goes back to what I was saying about being able to easily take care of yourself, or be easy to be at peace. Because if we're struggling to not worry, we're training ourselves to worry. So it's like you have to learn how to not worry to develop that skill. You can't make the outside world in a way where you're not going to have to worry anymore, because your very, tool or object of yourself, this body, is vulnerable and impermanent and subject to sickness and old age and death. So you can't avoid that. We can't avoid the ending of anything. Try not to be triggered so much. Try not to be so confused about feeling uncomfortable. You're not entitled to not feel uncomfortable. Tell Shiva to come live. I don't know what time it is in Canada. And me and Shiva don't really have anything to talk about, as far as I know. He seems pretty focused on what he wants to do. Yeah, for sure, Heaven. Sure, awesome, Dave. I'm trying to open myself up. I'm trying to help other people open themselves up, just by an extension of me opening myself up and exposing myself to other people. I'm trying to open up. I'm not trying to solidify myself into a certain kind of grift and a certain kind of approach where I'm going to be able to make money, or I'm going to be able to get people to say, yeah, I like that guy. If anything, I'm protesting against that whole approach. I want to open myself up. I want to open my heart up. I want to open my chest up. I want to open my mind up. I don't want to be the same person that I was yesterday. I don't want to be the same person that I was an hour ago. I don't want to be the same person that was a monk for 8 years. I don't want to be the same person that, recovered from mental illness. For sure, Heaven. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, evil is replaced with ignorance, and right and wrong are replaced with skillfulness and unskillfulness in terms of ending ignorance or ending suffering. And it's not something that happens overnight. And that's something I have a lot of struggle with, because it's like, I want to get this done. I want to be through my journey. I want to be on the other end of my journey, looking back and saying, wow, what a struggle that was. And now I'm just at peace. And I'm oftentimes not at peace. And I use these live streams as a way to keep opening myself up. If people donate or people give me some money, that's great. Everybody needs money. But that's not, I don't think about, oh, I bet if I go live today, I'll make some money. I don't think about that. I don't idealize making money that way. Yeah, yeah. I should do more stuff like that. I'd like to do more stuff like that at a certain point. There's just such a lack of intimacy that comes from the online connection that, it's like, yeah, people get to meditate with me, but I'm just meditating alone. So, Lysergic, you might be a little bit ill-informed about that fundraiser. That fundraiser was for a monastery that I was running in southern Italy. We raised about $1,000, and we didn't meet our goal. So, yeah. No, I 100% agree, Lee John. And I don't like when people charge for meditation sessions, people charge money for retreats, people charge money for courses and calls and things like that. I don't agree with that at all. The crazy thing is that our mind is so backwards that we see people trying to sell a service or manipulate people into paying for things at a higher level than somebody who just says, I'm offering what I'm offering, and if anybody wants to support that, that's great. Right? So the person who's actively conniving and scheming to find a way to get people to give them money is seen as being pure because they're doing business or they're selling something. But the person who says, I'm not selling anything, I don't sell anything. But if people feel inspired to support what I'm doing, great, appreciated. Because I do have a lot of experience. I have tons of experience in Buddhism and meditation and spirituality. So if that's what people are coming here because they're interested in Buddhism and spirituality, then you're coming to a place where there's a great well of experience, a very valuable well of experience. If you're just coming here you're just wandering around looking at things, looking for a distraction or looking for some kind of entertainment, then no, of course, there's not much value there. Certainly not value that would bring you to donate, because I have much more experience as a monk and as a meditator and someone who's been practicing Buddhism than I do as an entertainer. And just because you hear the words that I'm saying, it doesn't mean that you understand what's being said. Nor does it mean you're willing enough or open enough to actually listen to what's being said. Because there's this attachment and defensiveness to your biases or your preconceived notions about how people are supposed to be and what people's scope of experience is supposed to be in you coming across them on a live stream. Whereas comparing me with someone like M stands for money, just in terms of factual experience, doesn't make a lot of sense. Because I was a Buddhist monk for 8 years, I'm live streaming now saying I'm sharing my experience and my perspective on mindfulness, on detachment, on dana, sila, bhavana, samadhi, panya, words you don't even understand. So the scope of experience of being a monk for 8 years is not a fuck you to you. It's just something that you don't have any context for being real. And so you're kind of unconsciously or consciously making it unreal just because it exists outside of your context. But a lot of things exist outside of your context. And the more that we're open enough to accept that, we can be more real, more authentic. And yeah, what a lot of people don't want to be is vulnerable. And if your head is so full of these biases and thoughts, you can't really hear what's being said because you've already made up your mind. As if this live stream is about your thoughts about it, maybe to you, and then your ego trying to make other people agree with those thoughts or make me react to those thoughts or fight against those thoughts because that makes those thoughts more real. So it's just like the ego or the sense of self or the sense of understanding or knowing trying to perpetuate itself in the face of something that's about not knowing, about Buddhism and wisdom, prajnaparamita. And then the very accessibility or vulnerability that's being shared here, and like the willingness to take what you say fairly and truthfully and genuinely, is the only reason you're here. Making it accessible in a way that you can connect with to keep perpetuating your biases and your already figured out judgment about me. Whereas you're sitting here, you're even a group of people sitting here watching and following along saying, you're a grifter, this is all fake, this has nothing to do with Buddhism. And then I start doing a Buddhist chant or reading a Buddhist scripture and explaining it, and then you immediately leave and then come back again when I'm more vulnerable and accessible to meeting your ego's seeking for connection. I don't know. So if anybody's grifting here, I think it's you, right? Grifting consensus, grifting agreement, grifting this pretend made up view that your ego is just arbitrarily holding on to for no other reason but to say that I'm other than you and less than you, and that my experiences are less than you, less valuable and less true than your experiences. That your representation of me is more valuable and true than my representation of myself, which I don't know what to do about that really, besides be aware and not get attached to other people's genuine or disingenuous perceptions. Really, Z44? Are you serious? That's crazy. Well, just enjoy what you have, Don't think about what you have in comparison to what other people have. Just enjoy it now. Just make use of it now. And that's a good question mark to have, is in what way are we making use of what we currently have access to?
Chúng tôi nhận được tài liệu ống cháy và hệ thống đã trở lại hoạt động bình thường. Cảm ơn sự hợp tác của quý vị. Your attention please. Your attention please. The fire alarm test is over.
And the truth is, appreciate it now, because we have absolutely no idea how long we're going to be alive. You don't get tomorrow. Nobody's entitled to tomorrow. Nobody's entitled to 30 minutes from now. So if you can, don't waste any time making your life more magical, more wonderful, more meaningful, more beneficial to yourself and to others. So I don't see this as a grift. I see this as a way to share and receive energy, experience, this liveness, this livelihood of liveness. In Buddhism, we wouldn't say that everything I'm saying right now is bullshit. We'd say that everything I'm saying right now is empty. Everything that I'm saying now is impermanent. Everything that I'm saying now is unsatisfactory. Everything that I'm saying right now doesn't have a separate, independent existence from everything else. 100%. And even if you do wake up tomorrow, it won't be the same you that you are now. It'll be a different you. And in Buddhism, we'd say that there is no soul to begin with. There's no actual separate agent called you. That's just something that's constantly being imagined, constantly being dreamed up. And trying to actually keep track of that in the grand scheme of things is like trying to not just keep track of a cloud, but to keep track of a face seen in a cloud, an image seen in a cloud. So it's impossible. What advice do I have for someone who's bored with life? I think travel can be useful, especially travel to explore like other indigenous cultures, and just to like put your feet up, but to put your feet up in a way of movement and letting go of what you're used to. I mean, I always think about like how many people commit suicide every day, like how common, how regular suicide is, how normal suicide is. So if you're in a position where, how many people here have actually seriously thought about committing suicide? Raise your hand if you're willing. And you can see I'm raising my hand. How many people have actually thought about committing suicide here? Jeez Louise. See? Yeah. That'd be a good question to put on the poll. Let's see, let's try that. Have you ever thought of committing suicide? I probably won't let me post that just with the word as it is, with YouTube's filters and stuff. No, see, it won't let me post that. I guess in some ways I kind of see a part of what I'm doing here is like a willingness to commit the suicide of myself, like my ego. No, that's not working. Let's see about that. No. Won't let me ask that question. Yeah. So I don't know fully everything about that speaks to me, but it's these value judgments that we put on ourselves in a way of letting go. So that you don't get to that point where like you want to intentionally harm yourself, because we already harm ourselves in so many ways already by not living an ideal life or the life of a Buddha. So how can we be kind enough to each other and to our own experiences from that understanding of how much of a core of life is just suffering, and that we all share that reality together? If your life is a life that would make you think about unaliving yourself, change your life. Abandon what you have in your life so far. You know, you could go and be a volunteer at a meditation center, at my teacher's meditation center in America. They're always open for volunteers. I think you'd be surprised at because of course money is needed to do things, but I think you'd be surprised about what you don't actually need, like your own money to do. So when I was 20 and I was going through very severe mental health crisis, like anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, all that kind of stuff, I went and lived at a Buddhist meditation center for a year. I didn't have to pay anything for that. And then when I was 25, I saved up a little bit of money being a Chinese delivery driver. And I spent 8 years as a monk traveling the world. And that was all supported because I gave my life to something that was not about me. And the Buddhist community supported me in all that. So don't harm yourself and don't harm others. And if you can't keep yourself from harming yourself or harming others, don't be relaxed about that intention to harm yourself or to harm others. Set like a line in the sand, or set a standard like, I'm a messed up guy. I've got all kinds of things that I can improve on. I feel suffering. I feel difficulty in my life. Life seems to always kick me in my ass, but I don't want to harm myself. I don't want to harm anybody else. I don't want anybody to be harmed. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to suffer more than they already are. Yeah, do good deeds. And for me, this is like an access point for doing good deeds, for better or worse. And you all see how crazy I can act on this, but that's that's my cross to bear. That's my journey to go on. I think that standard comes from a willingness to see and to look closely enough at life to see that life is actually suffering. Like there's nothing satisfactory about the body. There's nothing satisfactory about the thoughts. There's nothing satisfactory anywhere. Like it's like trying to find a cup of water that you can drink and you can just be satisfied. That's that satisfaction is temporary. That naturally extends out to other people. Okay, hello everybody. I've been ranting and raving for the past 15 minutes. Maybe somebody could have told me that the live stream stopped working. How long has the live stream been off? I've been sitting here and ranting and raving and lecturing to nobody. How long was the live stream off? Come on, everybody. See, this is where we get to, we're just all along for the ride. 3 minutes?
Huh?
Yeah. So sorry about that. Well, I guess all of those rants and raves are going off into nothingness, same place they came from. So that's a big question. That's a big Zen question or a meditation question, right? Where do all these things come from? And because all of this seems to have like an apparent story behind it, right? Where does your moment by moment thoughts come from? Or the moment by moment way that that you feel moment by moment? Where does that come from? And where does it go to? Where do your current present thoughts come from? And where do they go to? Where are they stored? Where is yesterday stored? Where is all these experiences that we've had, all these things we've seen, all these things we've heard? Where is that stored? But the memory, and that's when we come up with thoughts as an answer to a question. But thoughts can only answer a question as much as they can hold on to anything. So a thought is like an attempt to grasp. But a thought can't hold on to anything. A thought can't do anything. So it's like we have a religion of giving this special importance, this magical power to thoughts, to sentences, to words and phrases. It's like when you say, let's ban all the guns because there's violence, right? There's gun violence. Well, guns don't kill people. In the same way, thoughts don't do anything. Try to do something with a thought. Right? That's when people become psychotic because they think they have psychic powers. You try now to do something with a thought. It's like I was talking about before about you've got all this money, but you can't use it. Well, then you don't have all that money. Thoughts have all this power. Well, then show it. Show the power of a thought. Do something powerful with a thought. Do something meaningful with a thought. Well, this is an exercise, right? This is a meditative exercise in examining our own mind, not talking about thoughts.
chair. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hello. Hello, everyone. Ooh. Oh, I sit here and call very good chair. Wait, Dr. Rao. Oh, today very good. But the morning not good. No, afternoon not good. The feeling not good and very bad. Because today I just have the bad thinking. But now it's okay. Sometimes bad thinking and good thinking come and go. So we cannot control that. Feeling the one day strange, good and happy, funny, lazy, thinking so much and skinny, so many stuff. You just look and thinking, look the feeling, and let's go. If you can see the bad thinking, you just look and see bad thinking. Why the bad thinking of fear? Why the bad thinking much your problem? So you just the see very clear the bad thinking, and bad thinking very scared. If you see bad thinking, you thinking bad thinking very scared. If you see very clear that, so bad thinking, let's go. If you have the mindfulness and you care, if you clean in your mind, your heart and your heart, holding your mind, really. So I think if you can do that, you need the have the strong mindfulness, and you need understand the trust. So when you see the bad thinking just let go, because bad thinking just bad thinking. This is not real, because bad thinking not happen. Now you lie, now bad thinking not happen, not appear, just your thinking. Bad thinking sometimes you're very scary, but you need to see the scary you're in mind. Sometimes you scary the change, everything your life the change, but the change your life. I think the life need the change every day, every time, but not change. You not lie. So sometimes I think every person is very scary, but just scary, right? Dr. Love, right?
That's right.
So now I go, Dr. Love come. I go to cooking. Bye bye. Very good. Good. I cook tea. Oh, tea. Very tea. I like honey.
And actually, the stress or the difficulty or the more clear, direct awareness of suffering, that can help us practice more seriously, more sincerely, more intimately. When everything's convenient and comfortable, there's no reason for us to be upright and aware and facing what is. So in Buddhism, if a loved one dies, if you find out you get cancer, if you wake up one day and you're 80 years old and you're old and disabled, these are like wake up calls. These are like holy messenger events that make you look at the nature of your suffering, the nature of unsatisfactoriness, to be with that, to transform that, to go deeper into that, to gain insight, to gain wisdom, to penetrate into your suffering. And you aren't very going to be able to penetrate into your suffering or your deeper mind when you have all these avoidance strategies. So when you feel that suffering, that inescapable reality, that can actually consolidate and focus your mind to be one-pointed, to be direct. You can become absorbed in deep states of meditation, deep states of peace and bliss. Yeah, suppression. So it's like my vision, my view is instead of just becoming more and more contracted around myself and the way that I live my life and my coping mechanisms, I want to become more expansive. I want to open myself out. I want to turn myself inside out. That's actually what I want to do. I want to turn myself inside out. And I want to keep growing and developing and evolving, not in terms of the body or in terms of what I think about, but in terms of freedom. And that's like an immediate freedom, not a freedom of later.
Oh, be careful.
Expansion tied to selfishness is exactly the problem. Expansion as a way of generosity, giving out beyond everything, beyond the beyond itself, is a solution.
Good. Anybody? When you suffering, you just ask why you must you suffering. So you now happy. Oh, good. Cheese.
What is it?
Cheese. Good. Thế đi nè.
Try the cheese. Actually,
Help. Big cheese help.
okay, make big cheese.
Cái là nào.
Yeah, make big cheese. When you feel suffering, don't focus on enlightenment. How can I get enlightened? Don't even focus on how can I get happy? How can I be happy? As Hung said, ask yourself this question. Why am I doing that? Why am I feeding, perpetuating, energizing suffering? You actually look at yourself. Well, why am I doing that? This is also what Sadhguru talks about, the inner engineering. It's not about being nice, it's how deep our kindness can be. And kindness has a lot to do with being accessible, not meeting someone else's expectations or desires. Actually going around their manipulation or their tactic or their trick and actually saying, hey, I'm right here. Nice to meet you. Welcome. What would you like to talk about? What is your idea? What is your understanding? Don't just follow along with the train tracks of the game or the manipulation. But don't reject those people either. Just say, yeah. What's going on? You know? And then practice mindfulness and detachment. But if you really do that skillfully, you really go around the whole game and the manipulation, that saying, hey, what's going on? They're gonna drop the game, because they're gonna see that you're somebody who actually doesn't chase the mud ball, but bites the thrower. And this is a bite of compassion. Yeah, the initial reaction is just nonsense. You have to, that's what they're going through. They're going through a perpetuation of the initial reaction, and they're trying to bring you into that. You go around that, say, no, I'm not in that. What's going on? All right, so to do that, we have to be individuated and not moved by the emotions of the majority. You know, we get those glimpses, we get that taste of peace, that tropical advertisement. But you attach to that, now you've got a new problem. Everything's impermanent. Now you've got an opiate addiction. Now you're on the street sucking cock for fentanyl. So that's just a reality of how things go. And in Buddhism, we don't believe that it's inherently bad to suck cock for fentanyl. That's not inherently evil or bad in Buddhism. Maybe not what Buddhist people want to do. It's not maybe recommended. It maybe would be generally seen as probably unskillful or definitely unskillful situation, but it's not evil. It's not bad. It's not wrong to suck cock for fentanyl. Someone doesn't have to go to hell because they suck cock for fentanyl. It's like every man or woman that sucked cock for fentanyl needs to go to hell. And we need to be the demons in hell to punish them and blame them and shame them. Yeah, the fuck right. That's not my religion. That's not what I believe. I suppose I support my nicotine addiction by taking nicotine. Smoking cigs, popping Zins. But what are we, in a fucking 60s nuclear family soap opera or something? Billy Bob, you keep smoking those gosh darn cigarettes. What do you think you're doing? I'm not in fucking middle school. I'm not in high school. I'm not, you're not my moral boss. You're not the moral arbiter of this place. Take your fucking morality and shove it up your fucking ass. Fuck your morality and fuck you too. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me I'm not allowed to smoke cigarettes. You're not my psychologist. You're not my daddy. You're not my mommy. Fuck off. I don't like what you're doing here. I don't give a fuck. My life isn't about what people like, what random people like. But I have a reason for not liking it. I don't care what your reason for not liking something is. That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Oh, we don't smoke cigarettes here. Dr. Rob smokes cigarettes. What do you think, this is a group home? That you're the direct care agent at a group home? And I don't know, mind your own fucking business? Or not, but that's what I do. I don't care what other people are doing. That's their problem, or their good thing. Good for them, or bad for them. That's their situation. I don't give a fuck what other people are doing. What other people are thinking. What other people's history is. I've got a life to live. Love the life you live with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind, and love all humankind as you would love yourself, and love the life you live with all your heart and all your soul and mind, and let it shine. We've got all our lives to live. We've got all our love to give. We've got just this moment to be as free as we possibly can. Oh, 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 oh. And then, we say, well, I don't think your song lines up with the way you live your life. Maybe I don't give a fuck what you think. Yeah, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. That's what love is. Right? Being willing to not hurt. That's love. Being willing to not harm when we could. That's love. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah, intentions matter, 100%. And when we totally disregard intentions, that's when things get totally out of control. Not by controlling and managing what people do, but by seeing the kind of intentions that we're feeding in ourselves and in society. So nowadays, a lot of modern culture is feeding the intention to just make money, have sex, and vote the way that people tell you to vote. Don't know how to think, don't know how to find depth in your own mind or in life. Where does our culture talk to us about helping people, about being of benefit to the society? That's the main difference between America and China. China has this entire culture about working for the common good, not just working for ourselves. Look at their rail systems, look at their cities, look at their manufacturing scale. So I also try to bring up this culture, this environment that's about positing this idea of not just working for ourselves. And I think that it tends to make us a lot more realistic and practical and less somehow like finding ourselves role-playing as if we're in like a 60s nuclear family sitcom, with this strange, obtuse morality that's just about us being right. Some vague Christian idea of being right as morality. So having a single focus on your breathing allows you to go deeper into your mind, allows the mind to deepen. This single focus. This idea that like we have to be, under our presentation, we have to be bad. Like at our core, we have to be selfish. At our core, we have to be angry, greedy, lustful. like have bull, like our at our core there has to be like bullshit there. A part of the way that I'm able to act in these different ways and present in these different ways is simply because of how much I've changed over the years through all of that meditation, through all of that connection with Buddhist teachers and studying Buddhist philosophy. But I know very clearly that it's much better to be a generous person, a kind person, a forgiving person, a patient person, a contemplative person, someone who's willing to sacrifice themselves to help others, than it is to seek my own desire or try to run away from my own fear. But I'm not aggrandizing that or idealizing that in myself. Definitely not. I can't tell you how much of a long way to go that I definitely have in being a better person and having a clearer heart and clearer intentions and, not stubbing my toe of the ego of the mind. Yeah, but we have to have a meaningful life, right? And a meaningful life is about helping others, is about giving, is about community. So if you have that sense of being worthless, deserving nothing, just get out there and give. That's the funniest thing. Go out there and volunteer at an animal shelter. Go out there and volunteer at a homeless shelter. Just go and find a way to help. Find a way to stop focusing so much on yourself, and you will immediately have a self that's worth more. The more that we don't focus on ourselves, the more our self is worth. Can be really difficult to see how faulty we are, how broken we are, how imperfect we are, how wrong we are, how much false hope we have. How many people we've hurt, how much we've hurt ourselves. Yeah, 100% that's what it's about, giving with no expectations. Oh, that's great. So do more. The moment you give to your limit, that's when you have a chance to go beyond your limit. And that's the greatest aspiration to have. Instead of trying to make the world more about ourselves, make yourself more about giving to the world. Make yourself more about everything that's not yourself. And with doing that without expectations is the doing that in a way that's not like this super ego that's trying to manipulate all these things to benefit yourself, to make you feel more secure, to make you feel superior, to make you feel more comfortable in understanding everything that you come across that you might happen to be curious about. The true God, the Lord Jesus Christ. Hallelujah. Using right view. Using the perspective of the emptiness of appearances, specifically the emptiness of someone, the emptiness of characters. You as a character, me as a character, all of our relationships with all people that we've ever known as characters. Dropping the self view of yourself in this direct experience, using right view. Creating an affinity with right view, empathizing with right view, empathizing with the view of emptiness when it comes to appearances, people, places, situations, experiences, the story-based narrative of what this is. Don't disassociate it from it. Be aware of it as keenly, as directly aware as you can, and don't attach to it. See the illusory nature of it. See the illusory nature of all characters, even the character of the Buddha, even the character of Jesus. Discipline is simply consistency in giving. You have to ask yourself what you want to give to. So for me, I want to give to giving. I want to give to mindfulness and detachment. If you can't love your neighbor as yourself, maybe you don't love yourself enough. And you should stop thinking about your neighbor and start not thinking about your experience of self. Let that work itself out. 100% Heaven's Echo, 100%. I don't know where Shiva is. Yeah, Shiva's busy with his honey cows. Shiva's out there seeking to buy a honey cow to own, to harvest honey from, to milk. I want to look up the literature on that. I'm pretty sure that's not. Anyway, the literature on being vegan is always going to be problematic compared to ableism and childism, because it's so impractical. I'm not saying everybody, be vegan. Please be vegan. There you go. Simple as that. The vegan society argues that bees are sentient creatures and harvesting their honey is exploitation. So, yeah, Shiva's a real character. And I know that's not correct, because I actually have a friend that's, there's different views. Here's a debate on Reddit about vegan beekeeping. Honey is not essential for humans. Honeybees will always outcompete native pollinators. And it's problematic to keep all the bees together like that. Yeah, don't have an attachment to being a vegan.
You eat vegan,
Here we go. So this is it was a post that beekeeping is vegan on the Debate of Vegan subreddit from Fanfaric. Consider the case of extracting nocturnal emissions of semen from a severely mentally disabled human whose mental and experiential state is equivalent to a bee. Quote, you give the bees a place to live and they give you honey. If they don't like the place that you gave them, they leave. You can also plant a variety of species that flower at different times of the year so that they have a stable food supply. Continuing with the comment. I have the capacity to provide a suitable diet and lodging to such a severely mentally disabled human. I wish to gather the nocturnal emissions of semen from. The caveats you offer can all evaluate true for this case, quite simply, as no queens or trapping are necessary. If all of these conditions imply we ought to have no qualms with harvesting goods of some creatures, even given it would have otherwise gone uncollected and causes no harm to the being to collect, then it would seem we ought to have qualms with neither the situation you have outlined with securing honey from bees, nor the situation I have outlined with securing semen from severely mentally disabled humans. Both situations fully align with the axioms outlined. Regardless of what is ontologically the case, this seems to be meta-ethically a logical necessity to accept if your claim is true. So there you go. 420. Let's get some W's in the chat for 420, everybody. Who's lighting up today? Who's hitting the reefer pipe today? Be honest. Be honest. Who's smoking reefer today? Well, I don't recommend weed smoking. I definitely don't recommend smoking weed. Make you shit out your intestines. Well, maybe unethical blood strike. Maybe you can try CBD flower. Why don't you try that? See if that works. Get out of the THC trap. CBD, CBG flower. Oh yeah, weed becomes a sedative. It becomes like being on opiates all the time. Becomes an extremely powerful sedative for the mind. Yeah, ibogaine, that'll get you right. That'll definitely get you right. But the problem for a lot of these addicts is that there's not enough accessibility. There's not a network of openness that can meet these people where they are and put them through this process. There's so many boundaries, there's so many, and it's a lack of unification and collaboration as well. So you want to get these drug addicts off the streets, you say, look at this rehab over here, but they can't get themselves over there. And that rehab has this thing and that thing. And then the way that these rehabs work, once someone gets clean, they just throw them on the street. A lot of these places. Or there's the simplest issue or relapse, and then they throw them on the street. So it's kind of like it's like a gay conversion therapy approach to addiction, a lot of these places. And it's very Christian oriented and capitalist oriented. It's like the same situation for people with disabilities in America. It's so overrun with a capitalist scheme. So you have these people that are business people running and managing how all of it goes down, instead of people who actually care about helping these people and using resources to help these people. It's a business. It totally becomes a business. Yeah, but is the whole story a narrative about weed is freedom, weed is medicine? Is that really that helpful? Is it really that like single mothers on disability or on benefits or, working part-time or whatever need to smoke weed to be better mothers? Like, is that actually true? Because everybody's suffering. There's a statistics. I was watching a video by Eckhart Tolle, and he said that last year, I think it was 25 or 22% of college students were on antidepressants. 20%. So this idea that like weed is the medicine we all need. Well, yeah, we all do need a medicine, but it's probably not, just smoking weed. Of course, it depends, Bryson. So that can be a very good example, Excuse me, I was just eating some food out of my teeth. Honey, can you turn on a fan? And we turn off the AC. Yeah. No, it can be used medicinally. That's also the problem, the modern problem, is that everybody thinks that everything is black or white. You have or you have not. You're good or you're bad. You're right or you're wrong. You're a Democrat or you're Republican. You're a communist or you're a capitalist, fascist or whatever. And it doesn't work like that. You're against gay people marching in the streets with dildos strapped to their heads, or you're for grown men in BDSM gear pissing on each other in the streets. And that's not how life works. Kids on antidepressants, it's tons. It's got to be, I wouldn't be surprised if it was 10 to 20% of American children on some kind of SSRI medication, all those different medications. It's crazy. Because the modern medical field works in a way where you've got a kid that's growing up in a broken home. Both parents are functioning alcoholics, or it's just one parent that has basically no time to be with the kid, that's super stressed, that grew up in a traumatic home their own. And now they're taking their kid to a psychiatrist because they're anxious, so they can't focus at school. And instead of there being any real practical public discussion about how our environments affect our minds, you just say, okay, well, this kid needs a depression medication, needs experimental medication for his brain so that he won't feel the way that he feels. What do I think about ayahuasca? I think ayahuasca can be a really good medicine. I'm an ayahuasca fan. If ayahuasca was legal here in Vietnam, then I would probably use it. Ayahuasca is actually a lot less stress and anxiety inducing I found than THC or weed. That was my experience with it. But I primarily took it alone. So in a group, it might be more scary. I don't know. Right? And then when we start to talk about subtleties, because we don't have a ground of community, because growing up, we never spent any real time around emotionally stable groups of men, groups of women, when we start talking about subtlety, then we say, oh, it's the devil, or it's the reptilians, or it's the Illuminati, it's the New World Order, it's Trump. No, it's you and me. It's us. It's not them, it's us. And the more that we can work on us, the more that we can work on ourselves, the more that we can help. You can't help, unless you're the overlord of a village, you can't work with things like that. I've gone to the cave and I've discovered something. You're not in charge. You're a cog in the machine. So can you make that cog in the machine change other cogs in the machine through our mutual interdependence? A lack of community is sure a problem everywhere, but it's an extreme problem in America. Whereas in China, I wouldn't say it's an extreme problem. It's definitely not an extreme problem in Vietnam, because there's a different. So there's one idea, there's one like philosophical or sociological idea that compares societies that raised wheat versus raising rice. So raising rice is like a very collaborative effort, where raising and extracting wheat is like a more independent effort, and how that affect the society and how people are like hyper individualized, or actually their identity is based on their communal presence, their communal relationships with everybody else around them. So for example, in Vietnam, or I guess in Thailand as well, but in Vietnam, there's like, you're on a street, you're on like a normal street, and there's hundreds of motorbikes driving together with like this distance away from them. That could never happen in America. Not logistically, but our minds, we could never be that close to people with motorbikes, even if we knew how to drive them, and not be crashing into each other or getting into all kinds of conflict. Yeah, there's also some really interesting research about China having a population crash because of the one-child policy. So when countries become more developed, their birth rate goes down, and depending on circumstances, it can go too low, and then there's like 2 adults for every 4 dependents, like old people and young people that can't work. And China has statistically heading towards like an unbelievable crash in terms of population because of its fast development and because of the one-child policy. They did millions of abortions, millions of government abortions, where the government would literally send people to villages, find mothers that were like 6 months, 8 months pregnant, and then abort the child because that family already had one child. And they did that millions and millions of times. Honey. It's very cold now. Thank you, honey. Your title says that beekeeping is vegan. But your claim is that beekeeping would only be vegan if we did nearly everything about it differently. Symbiosis is fine, but the power differential between our species means that we will have to be incredibly careful about creating a false sense of choice. It's very easy to force consent by only presenting choices that serve the oppressor. A slave, for instance, might choose to stay and work instead of fighting back and probably dying, but that's hardly a choice. We should understand veganism as being about rejecting the commodity status of non-human animals. They don't exist for us, they exist for themselves. If we create a scenario where bees can thrive without us, and they still choose to interact with us, then maybe we can consider taking something from them and giving something back. That situation, however, doesn't exist anywhere in the world at a scale that makes it worthy of our time to discuss alongside animal rights matters that are actually pertinent. Beekeeping isn't vegan because the thing we call beekeeping is thoroughly exploitative. Some other way of interacting with bees might be, but we shouldn't call it beekeeping if it's almost entirely different. So there's Shiva's vegan beekeeping arc down the toilet. And honestly, for trolls or people like that, if they do have a problem with me asking for money or encouraging people to donate, I don't have a problem with that. Maybe that's right. I think that's probably more right than wrong. That I'm doing a disservice in some way to myself in talking about people donating or encouraging people to donate, or of course, threatening people if they don't donate that I'll break my phone. I think that's good. I think that's probably there's a lot of helpful aspects to that. There's a lot of truth to that. Pangolin, in veganism or ableism or speciesism, it's very practical. The axioms are very practical. So it's not about the perspective of a gazelle, it's about your perspective, or the human, because we're human beings, right? We're not just a human being, we're a particular kind of human being that's been valued as being the most important, right? So as like a white man or a woman, or versus a person with a disability versus not, etc. So it's not about the gazelle's perspective, it's about your perspective. Yeah, I was vegan before. And I'd like to be vegan again. I would love for if someone comes along and really gives my wife a good talking to about veganism so that we can have a vegan home. Or that I can lose weight, talk to my wife about me losing weight. Getting a blender, getting a smoothie. It's not about what I want, dear. My life is not about what I want. Free.
Vegan.
Oh my gosh. Well, tell that to the animal. Tell that to the dog that you're eating.
So when animal die, the same the cheese, the sauce. What the difference?
And this is the difference between the enlightened Western people and the natural people that maybe haven't adopted our higher views and our higher values.
If you eat vegan, but your mind not in the meat, not in the fish, not in anywhere in the animal.
No, I wanted to say something worse than that, chicken.
You can eat vegan, very rhythm and very good.
Yeah.
And your mind because you love just because you understand what the how you understand the love the just animal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But sometimes person eat the animal, but they love the animal, but you're
Yeah.
not skilled. The same honey not skilled that the small mosquito or the small anything, right?
Yeah.
But we can eat the animal.
Okay.
Animal just die, but you're not here, you're
Let me
not
try
thin,
this. Let me
and you're
try
not
this.
that this. You're not idea in eat the animal if it's still alive. Animal still alive, you cannot eat, right? You cannot take care animal when animal die, right? Animal die, you can eat. It's okay. Don't think so much. Don't much your problem. Eat vegetarian or vegan or animal. Don't much your suffering that. Some person, the body, if vegan very good. Some person eat the vegan not good. This thing and bad and sit.
Yeah.
Why honey eat for me?
I think that's one of those things. Look, let's be a little bit real about it, right? Two people, they graduated high school. They were high school sweethearts or whatever. They worked for a little bit. Now they're getting married. Okay? They like to drink. They're addicted to their smartphones. They have to work a lot. They get a loan for a house. Now they live in a house and they both have to work. Now they have a child. They've had basically no experience at all in working with children, in raising children in any way at all. They don't live nearby their parents or their grandparents, right? They see them maybe once or twice a month. Now, they have this kid, they have no idea what to do with it. They don't know anything about a baby or a child. They were forced through an education system that basically didn't teach them anything real, forced them to memorize and regurgitate to pass tests, right? Didn't identify and sponsor and support any of their deep interests. And now they're raising this kid, which they have no information about how to raise a child. They're both working and they're both still addicted to their smartphones. And then they put their kid through that same process. Where is this contemplative leaning? Where is the depth coming from in that? It's almost like generation by generation becoming more superficial. And then, I don't even know how parents justify this. They're putting their 3-year-old kid in front of a smartphone, in front of a tablet. And now the kid is primarily spending like a little bit of time with the parents actually focusing on them. And all of the rest of the time is them just being in physical proximity while either the child is on their tablet or the parent is on their phone and kind of with their child. And that's how these people are raised up. I'm not talking about like this generation versus that generation, but how does that create any kind of dynamic at all of authenticity, of depth, of contemplativeness, of being able to look deeply, to share deeply, to listen deeply, let alone to know with community, let alone to know how to work with our own internal emotional and psychological struggles or dynamics? There you go, Darlis. And everybody says, oh, they're autistic, they've got a problem with their brain. But the reality is that there's a problem with our society. There's a problem with the way that that families operate. There's a problem with the way that schools operate. There's a problem with the way that we have relationships with other people, primarily based on us being forced into a box of school, and then addictions of alcohol.
Some person vacant, just show the person see, oh, me very good, I very love the animal. No, not show that. You love animal, your mind, you love your heart, animal, right? You're not skill anything. I like that. I not like the person show. Oh, I not like it because I not like.
Who are they going to talk to? What's there to talk about? You know? If they're not cookie cutter, if they don't fit into a box of particular stereotypes that are seen as being positive, what's there to talk about? They spent their entire childhood having minimal contact with the people that are supposed to be closest to them because those people are addicted to their smartphones, because those people are working all the time. Most of their contact has been with other unmatured people, right, or undeveloped people, usually in the same circumstances, being forced into a brain blender of a standardized education system with the lowest paid people, some of the lowest paid people in the world in terms of their responsibility. You know, perfect chaos. Why don't you mind your own fucking business and get your nose out of my ass? What do you think, this is a fucking game? This is your little fairy tale world? You think we're in a fucking sitcom comedy? Get the fuck out of here. Mind your own fucking business. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to, and what the fuck do you think you're talking about? Don't tell me about my relationship with my wife. What do you got a fucking problem in your brain? You been drinking tonight? You had a few too many drinks tonight? It's not about being nice either. It has nothing to do with being nice. Be nice to me. Be nice to me. No, don't be a fucking idiot. How about that? Commenting on my relationship with my wife. That's none of your fucking business. Is it? Is it your business, my relationship with my wife? Or how my wife thinks about what I'm doing here? What do you know about it? You get these people, they think because it's the internet, you just act the way that you want to anybody. Look, I can't see you. I can't hear you, buddy. I don't know who you are. I can't speak to you. I can't talk to you. You can see me. You can hear me. I'm right here looking at you. So be a little bit real in terms of how you would act as a human being if you were in somebody else's house as a guest by your own choice. I mean, can you imagine if you were a guest in my house? Like, I've had some friends over, like Colin comes over sometimes, and Colin was sitting there and I was doing this, and Colin's my guest sitting on the couch, and he makes a remark. Look at this fucking douchebag sitting there instead of spending time with his wife. It may be how the internet works right now, but it doesn't need to work that way. It's not like that's an excuse. Are you drunk, man? Are you high? What's going on with you? Why are you repeating, did I name you? I'm not kicking you out. I'm not saying you can't be here. I'm just saying don't be ridiculous. Well, if I misread your comment, I apologize. Sometimes that happens. Good? Very good?
I don't know.
I don't think so, Bill. I don't, honey, they have the graveyard in Vietnam? The graveyard? The cemetery? No, they burn the dead people here.
What?
If you die, they burn, right? They make into ash, right?
I have.
They burn. Usually they burn, I'm pretty sure.
Now we fly. Fly.
Throw in the air. Oh, throw the ash in the air.
How not have so many there.
What is the? You got to give me more direct information in Space School. Send me a message or a voice message or something on WhatsApp, and tell me what the situation is. Don't try to ask the like psychological stuff. Just share, right? That's a practice of generosity. Just share your understanding of it, your experience of it. What people, where, when, in what context, in what situation. I don't want you to leave, chicken permission. Why would I want you to leave? Oh, thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. I don't know. They said this is a Stalin hairdo, this is a Ho Chi Minh hairdo, so I feel good about it. Dr. Phil, yeah. So all those are good comparisons. I'd rather be compared to Dr. Phil than be constantly compared with what's the bald guy, Johnny Sins. So this kind of sets me apart because I don't look like Mr. Clean now. I don't look like Johnny Sins now. And I'd like to grow this all the way out. Yeah, Uncle Fester. I'd like to grow this all the way out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. I am blooming as a flower. I am fresh as the dew. I am solid as a mountain. I am firm as the earth. I am free. So actually, that's one of the big problems for crazy people or schizophrenic people. It's too much seriousness. You need to apply that seriousness somewhere else. But in terms of your craziness and like your agency, your identity that thinks and solves, you have to stop taking that seriously entirely. And luckily, usually, people who are that crazy, they don't have that much to do. They don't have that many responsibilities and obligations and all that kind of stuff. So once you stop taking that devil inside of you seriously, just why do you care so much about that? Why do you care so much about what is happening or what could happen? Just stop caring about appearances. The mind is a clear blue sky. The mind is a clear blue sky. Clouds come, clouds go, but the mind is a clear blue sky. The mind is a clear blue sky. Thoughts come, thoughts go, but the mind is a clear blue sky. No wrong or right path. Just let it be the way that it is now. That's where you find contentment. That's where you find fineness. And you need to let everything settle down. You need to let yourself calm down. Especially if the world's going to come and slap you in your face, all the more reason to let yourself calm down. And it's more of an exploration. It's more of a practice rather than just talking about things. So that song is a practice. You can listen to me or see me practicing that, but I'm not performing that for you. And ideally, you can practice that song together with me. You can practice that way with me, because that song has very good wisdom in it. All right, everybody, $500 for a drinking stream. Let's get some W's in the chat to encourage some prospective donors. If somebody donates $500, I'm going down to the 7-Eleven. I'm getting IPA beers. I'm getting Jägermeister. And we are going to go crazy, providing a service, providing a service, providing a service. W's in the chat, everybody. $500 donation for a drinking stream. $500 donation for a drinking stream. Let's go. W's in the chat, everybody. Providing a service. Or if 100 people donate $5, that'll also trigger the drinking stream. If 5 people donate $100, that'll trigger the drinking stream. A service, providing a service. Yeah. But that's also something for people who are halfway, like, not just totally just lost in their own mind and, having some kind of sense of looking into this situation, this experience. You have to understand it's a scope of sharing, right? It's a continuum of sharing. It's not just this 5 minutes. So if you've just been watching for 30 seconds, you're going to have a very limited view of what's been building up to this. So I might have, for example, I might have said, hey, everybody, I bet there's going to be a new viewer here in a little bit, and we're going to prank them. And I'm going to say that if I get $500, I'm going to do a drinking stream just so we can prank that person. Now, I'm not saying that I said that or didn't say that. And I'm not saying that to justify me saying that. I'm saying that that's totally possible. There's constantly people coming in, even people that sit here and watch this for 10 or 15 minutes. Those people come in out of nowhere and leave out of nowhere. Now, you don't give all the energy to like context. What's the context? What's the context? Because in the grander scheme of things, there is no particular context. There's no absolute context. There's no absolute explanation for anything. We are, after all, great apes. We're monkeys. Are we not? Scientifically, logically, technically, aren't we monkeys? It's a little bit surreal, right? And then how do you want to use that surrealness? By being a freak? Or by being fucking a journeyer? And make friends on the path. Maybe we're not only allowed to make friends in high school. Maybe we're not only allowed to go through high school, go through elementary and middle school and make friends that way, and then we're forced into labor and we can just have acquaintances that we drink with. Maybe that's not what life has to be. We are the world. We are the children. We are the people all over the world staying together. And this is our home. And this is our family. We can be friends and we can be kind together forever. We are the world. We are the children. We are the everything and everyone in the whole wide world. I'm providing a service. We are the world. We are the children. We are the people all over the world and all over the world. Yeah, chair's good. Yeah, I was thinking again and again, buy the chair, not buy the chair. Because it's all a scheme, like if you go to the shop to buy the chair, then you see it online for half that. So it's all a scheme, but I just said I can't keep doing this to myself. I got to get this chair for the people, for the community. We've all got a one-way ticket. And nobody's going to avoid where we're going. Not a single person. Oh man, it was a great match. I didn't think Devin had that match. I had no idea. I didn't have faith in Devin. I just watched it, and he dominated Vitaly. Now, can he do that to Levon? Probably not. Levon is on a whole other level. Because the reason that Devin was able to beat Vitaly in that way is because Devin knows how to isolate muscle groups and identify those muscle groups with leverage. You kind of locking the whole body in the arm and then fighting that particular muscle group by getting the wrist. But with Levon, he's on a whole different power scale. And so Devin, it's just like with the first match with Vitaly, where Devin couldn't do with his right arm what he did with his left. So it's basically, I think it's basically going to be the same thing if he goes against Levon again, because it's just a whole different level of strength. But the dynamics are definitely there. But if you watch the match with, the right arm match, you can see Devin's face. So I was talking to my wife about this, Weeble Wobble. It's because it's a story. This guy's 50 years old. Arm wrestling is his whole life. He's so passionate about arm wrestling. And everybody loves arm wrestling. It's cool. It's fun. He's giving and then he's concentrating his entire energy into his arm, this one arm power, right? So he's killing himself for this. He's killing himself to be number one in the world without question in arm wrestling. One of the greatest ancient sports that's ever existed is arm wrestling, man to man, arm to arm, right arm to right arm. Left arm doesn't matter.
I cannot be one because King Kong very
Yeah, Hung loves King Kong. Hung calls him King Kong. Hung loves Levon. And so you could see in his face all the red, all of the pimples and things, because he has to take so much steroids. He has to take so much peptides and all this different experimental stuff to get himself up to that level of strength. Homo sapien monkeys are bald compared to gorillas. I don't wipe. I never wipe. We use something called a bum gun. We use a bidet here. It's much more cultured, much more clean, gives you a full clean. I don't know what I want to do. Yeah, that's right, Bexy. There's a lot of different variants. And we were probably doing tribal genocide between the variants at a particular period of time. There's all kinds of unknown dynasties and stuff because they were hunter and gatherers. So they didn't necessarily build up civilizations or big structures. They build up structures that just passed away. Only don't know. Just go straight. Stay with that feeling of not knowing what to do. No need to want to do anything. I don't need to do anything. You don't have to need to do something. Sometimes not needing to do anything is very difficult. Not needing to do anything physically, not needing to do anything mentally. And to stay in that space. Stay in the space of a lacking of need to do anything physically or mentally. So these are meditation instructions. It's not something to talk about. Well, you haven't finished the Guan Yin, Guan Theum. Guan Theum still waiting.
Don't go anything like one idea, desire,
100% John Ulam. That's where can't not do becomes selfless and becomes realization. That's where practice becomes non-practice, becomes realization. That's where we're not meditating as someone.
I think sometimes we think that very good, very now, okay, I don't do it. Okay, very good idea. Okay, very lazy. Okay, very good. Sometimes we need that.
But I can't tell you how much I've learned from not doing anything. And just feeling, let's say, what's already happening. Remove the self-belief and the self-reifying actions like what unethical blood strike is doing right now from the whole paradigm. Why not? It's not going to be a big problem for me if I drink a bunch of beers, and $500 is a lot of money. So if someone would give me $500 to see me do a drinking stream, what's the big deal? I'm not going to jump off the balcony or attack my wife because I had a few beers. Just probably have a little bit of a headache, go to sleep. Hung drinks a little bit sometimes, very rarely. She's not against alcohol. Good for you, brother. I'm happy for you. Unromantic contact with suffering. And then not aggrandizing that, not making it into this holier than thou thing, or we're all going to do that together. We're all going to get it together. We're all going to not get it together. I was never much in the rat race, so I don't get to have much of a good relief feeling of being out of the rat race. After I lived at the meditation center, I started living with this Puerto Rican woman. Thank you, Redius. And had a car. I worked with people with disabilities. I was a job coach. Worked at a group home for a little bit. Moved across the country to be an in-person caregiver for this guy with autism. That guy was a very dangerous guy. And then got into construction. And that's when I realized that it wasn't fulfilling. It was just I saw that all that I was doing wasn't really pushing me in the direction that I wanted to be in. I like working. I love hard work. It's just something that has to come from my heart. It's not something I just do. I don't just do things to do them in that way. Like someone says, get a job. I say, oh, okay, hop to it. Okay, I'll get a job. What am I going to do? I'd be more interested in volunteering than getting a job.
Honey had a job. Why honey not have a job?
That's what people say, honey has a job. Because I'm a little bit self-depreciating and a little bit, and And for good reason.
Hey, 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 everyone. What do you think about the job? Hmm? You not think the same all the way, right? This is now the 226th year, right? This is a job. This is a very bad job. High level job. The top job. Dumb person that you can do that, right? This is a very job. Good job. This is a bad job. What have they in the job?
I just see the darkness of the world. I feel I
job?
relate so much to the darkness of the world. Because I remember
So have
having
you
such a
noticed-
dark mind and such a negative mind.
The same, the ASEAN we talk the human, the thinking, the out on the way, the acid, the how about the huh? We just go the same the acid, water, you can go, but if you go another round, we talk. No, you need to go here. Work. Out the way. Try to think just nothing that. We need to open. This is new away. So many new away.
Well, I don't want to fight with people if they say this is low level activity or I'm not a good teacher or even to reference that is wrong. I'm not going to fight about that. I'm sure a lot of people who've been students of mine would agree with that. So, yeah, nobody wants to be another brick in the wall. That she says, "This is my studio. This is my job. This is my good job."
Yeah. So go to the office, go to the another shop. This a job? No. Why we think that? So now ASEAN have a job online, job in the cloud, a job the live stream. This is a job. And job the teaching, the teaching meditation, the teaching online, so job.
This a teaching meditation online job?
The same. The before I read the meditation and another monastery. The Sayadaw Yatila talk. Sayadaw, I go to interview in the Sayadaw. Sayadaw Yatila talk to me. Because Sayadaw talk to me, come the monastery and read this meditation and need the go to the nibbana and not the suffering in the life. So I talk the Jatila, I thought I want to learn, I want to go anywhere, I ready. So many ideas in desire in the mind. So I talk the Sayadaw. So how I Sayadaw talk. Sayadaw the have the one the job. Read medicine forever. When he die, it's the job every day and every time. This is meditation forever. This is the job. Him talk that, right? This is the job. Easy. Forever. When he died, this is a job forever. Right? the job long year ago. We not have the job the same today, right? So, what the job? If the person need, you have, but person not have. So, you share in that. This is a job. So, why you mothers? This is not. This is very simple, right? So don't talk this. Dr. Rob not job. Every day he put the job, sharing, talk, the meditation talk, the teacher talk, the Rama talk, and read very good thinking. This is a job. Who person do that? Cannot, right? This is a job volunteer. Huh? Stop the job Buddhist. So don't talk him not have job. Him have job very high level. Very stop. The salary just have không? His salary because salary when the person talk and sharing in the marriage literature, the salary. I am baseball. I am very baseball.
Could have moved the microphone over here, right, when you're talking.
No, yeah, no, I not care about that. Just, I think just the person must the mind thinking all the same. How about the same all the way, right, honey? Huh? So when new the way, we very scary the try and the test the new way. So I think before I read this medicine, I see that when I see the my thinking is very scary. If I want to do that, but thinking and do very different. So I try over how the banana, right? Banana and try and I do, but I think not different, not difficult. I think that I do very simple, very easy, but I think it's very difficult, it's scary if I do that. But when I do, very easy, not difficult. So when you think and you do, very different, right? Different. So you can try. If you think want to do, you can try. You do. Just your mind think scary, but just your mind scary, but you do and you think this is different, so not scary that. Because I see that. I see very real that, so I try so many times. So very good. Experience is very good when you do. But Smile just scary when because you know when you not do your mind very scared because anything your mind want to sure anything if you do you want to sure anything and good anything but your mind scary not good okay not good it's okay if you open your mind okay good is not good it's okay do good do bad it's okay you can do you can try so you're not scary you over you carry don't carry hello Dr. Rowe she's come here huh Dr. Rowe where are you I keep you away now I very fast now I very fast because sometimes the my baby want to eat I see but I cannot control that because I love the food I see but I think sometimes I control the my mind not the one to eat but sometimes I love to eat so I eat so now I very fast shoo, shoo, shoo. Sha la 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 xie ya. So Dr. Rob talk very good, teaching very good. I study so many a lot of the with him. Really?
She's very kind and very generous.
No. Dr. Rob very kind. Very good. Because sometimes I very angry. I know I very angry. I see the mind. So Dr. Rob teaching me the how about the see the mind unit. So I study so many at Dr. Rob.
It's just like with taking a road trip. If you wanted to take a road trip to the other side of the country, so driving for 16 hours, that's you might as well get a train conductor, you know, you might as well find somebody who can conduct a train. Whereas if you have a group of people, it's not difficult to go 16 hours. It's not difficult to build something. It's not difficult to help each other. So the more that we're willing to help, the more helpable we make ourselves, and the more space that's created to help others and to create that dynamic. So that's the view, that's the vision, that's the perspective. And with the oversaturation of content in the world, for Western people especially, there needs to be something to set apart, and there also needs to be an energy of filtering out. So we are, building a community. We're planting seeds for a new community. And it is time to wake up. But that's not going to come from our hopes and wishes and our dreams. It's going to come from our willingness to sacrifice. And the more that life comes and bends us over and does God knows what, the more that we're going to realize that we can't control our life. We can't control ourselves. We can't control the body and the mind, and that there's nothing to do but to give. And this is a kind of empowerment. This is a kind of way of becoming empowered by our willingness to give, rather than our willingness to have, to take, to control, etc. And I don't want to be in control. I want to have an environment where I feel naturally inspired to rest, where I feel naturally inspired to give, and where I feel naturally inspired to be. And I want to create an environment for other people to share in those values. And that's the aspiration for the Monk Life Meditation Center here in Vietnam. So we're going to take it step by step, but it's not something that can be put in a 5-minute video. It's not something that's being done to make money. It's something that's being done to let go of trying to make and begin the process of giving in ourselves and with each other as well. So that's the idea, that's the concept, that's the vision. We're working towards building a meditation center here in Vietnam. And we have to go through this filtering process. We have to go through this attention-grabbing process because we have to see ourselves. And if something doesn't wake us up from our slumber of self-fixation and self-thinking, we're not going to have any chance to see what's needed to really rest. So I'd rather make a fool of myself than pretend to be something or someone. Okay. Get out. That's my chair.
Good job.
Yeah, it's all a part of the show, but it's a part of the show of letting go. For the sake of letting go, not for the sake of getting something in particular or having something in particular. Our apartment is too small to fit another chair or any other furniture, basically. I've already had some falling out with Hung because of my appreciation of furniture. Yeah, definitely, Heaven. And I'm constantly battling with that. This has been a great stream. This has been a great 2.5 hours. And if I gave in to myself, then I wouldn't have been able to do this. Sure, it's been good for me. I feel it's been beneficial for me, but it's been beneficial for other people as well, I feel. So that's what it's all about. That's what I believe. I don't see the place for bad intentions here. I don't see the beneficial qualities for bad intentions here. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get a little bit angry or get a little bit crazy, but I don't see the benefit of sustaining bad intentions, to fight with anybody, to argue with anybody, or to protect myself. My job of protecting myself is my capacity to let go of myself. Okay, take care, everyone. W's in the chat. See you all later. Yes, fighting with Shiva is funny, and I like to be funny. I like to mess around. I like to have fun, but I think Shiva is a little bit out of his depth at this point, and I need to accept that. You know, I can't try to make Shiva be the person that I want him to be. We've got to accept Shiva as he is, and Shiva as he is maybe somebody who needs more time for himself and his own work and to work out his own directions. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.